first. Driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the big one is out. Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the Rubbins Racin' Next Gen Cup Series every Tuesday night, sponsored by Butt Kicker. Feel what you've been missing. Tonight we find ourselves at the virtual Tricky Triangle Pocono Raceway. It's going to be a good one, and as always, on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, my name is James East, bringing the action 1080p, 60 frames a second, as we get ready for this 1 hour race. One fast repair available for these drivers, and great racers with even better attitudes. As we take a look at qualifying to see where the drivers currently sit, it is Dominic Deleo on top, and the number 22 Ford Mustang. Nick Leo looks to be sitting second, and Jared Reed rounds out the top three. Still got a couple drivers out on the track as we watch Matt Kleeman in the number 19 Ford Mustang making his way out. Looks to be just shy of 20 drivers making their way out. It is guaranteed to be, yet again, another fantastic race in this Next Gen Cup Series. Let us know where you're at from around the world and who you're cheering for as we get ready to roll straight into tonight's main event. Starting on pole is Dominic Deleo. Nick Leo starts second. Jared Reed, number 5, starting third. Wayne Gridden starting fourth here today. Garrett Hall, fifth on the grid. Jake Vinoski starting seventh. Carter Lynn starts eighth. Butch Taylor, eighth on the grid. Leaf Smith starting ninth. David Reed starting 10th, and the number 52 Ford Mustang. Stephen Gibson, the 53 Chevrolet, starts 11th. Randall Hicks starts 12th tonight. Hayes starting 13th. Mark Cusano starts 14th. Robert Mathis Jr. starting 15th. You've got Charlie Gates Jr. starting 16th. Matt Kleeman starting 17th. Aaron Sires starting 18th. And a possible late entry with Joseph Penn starting 19th. Now, we talked to Joseph Penn before tonight's race, and he was saying he did not quite feel comfortable in the new package that this car has put out. So it'll be very interesting to see if he actually makes his way out or if he's going to take it easy and maybe take a night off. As the only two drivers that have yet to make the grid is Robert Mathis Jr. and the number 29 and the aforementioned Joseph Penn. Penn did bring home his very first podium here at Rubbins Racin' last week with a very solid third after a spectacular fuel and tire strategy. Going to be very interesting to see how things go at Pocono. Not a lot of drivers have seat time on this new package, this next-gen Cup car, as well as the setups haven't been published by iRacing. Jared Reed, league admin, actually built the setup these drivers are going to be using tonight, so it's going to be interesting to see how things pan out. New package, possibly a new setup, and we're going to get ready to roll them out here at Pocono. 50 laps around the Tricky Triangle as the iRacing pace car will make its way out of pit road. Dominic Deleo and Nick Leo will follow the two drivers on the front row. And a pretty healthy looking grid here tonight. As everybody gets rolling. And it will be Deleo and Leo on the front row for this start. Gonna be interesting to see here. 50 laps. Not sure what the fuel mileage game would be. I would assume this will be a one-stop race, barring any cautions. But this could very quickly turn into a tire management race as well, as drivers are going to be a little bit easier to send that back end sliding around and really leaning on that right rear with these new setups. As we get ready for our iRacing pace car to make its way down pit road, and then we will start the party for 50 laps. Going to be interesting. A lot of firsts for a whole lot of drivers, and a little bit smaller field as some of the drivers not quite comfortable with this new update that rolled out. As now iRacing starting to get a little bit more data from NASCAR and these new machines. And here we go, green flag racing. For the first start of the evening, Dominic Deleo still out front. Jared Reed looks like he's going to take over second place, diving up the inside line of Nick Leo, but Leo's going to answer back into turn one as both drivers are going to send it in deep. And Dominic Deleo suddenly has company after a massive launch at the beginning here. As we continue going 2 wide and about 3 rows deep, everybody trying to find where they're going to slot in at. Jared Reed's going to press the issue once more on the inside line, diving into turn 2. As it looks like Leo's going to hold on to it here. We've got somebody looked like they were a little bit squirrely. That was Vinoski in the number 7 machine. Had a big moment, able to hold on to it, and gets rolling right back up to pace. So well done having the know-how to save it. That could have been much worse. As we pan the camera back out front, they are flat tracking around the flat surfaces here at Pocono. Deleo and Leo still running first and second. Jared Reed trying to find a way through that 69 Chevrolet of Nick Leo to put that number 5 up in a top 2 spot, because he's got a whole lot of company with Wayne Grennan right behind him. Grennan in the number 28 Chevrolet, the fluorescent yellow and orange, almost highlighter colors out there on the track. Very easy to spot. Grennan currently running 4th on track. Now, very interesting, nobody inside the top 5 has really moved around positions at all so far. 1st through 5th running as exactly as they qualified. But here comes Leo, going to try and battle with the race leader, Dominic. Jared Reed gives his support to Leo on the inside line, trying to see if he can squirrel his way up there in the 5 forward. Oh, here we go. There goes Wayne Grennan. Able to save it. An absolutely massive save by Grennan. So Grennan will fall back now down to 8th. And very quickly losing more. Now 9th. He's down 5 spots from where he started. As up front, things are still heated. Nick Leo has taken over the race lead from Dominic. And now Jared Reed sits well in 3rd. Oh, this is early to have this much excitement. Now let's see here if everybody's going to settle down slightly after watching Wayne Grennan's massive save. Grennan now running 9th on the circuit, the number 28 machine. But it looks like it may be Garrett Hall turn the number 13 to try and make some big moves here. As your race leader, Leo, clicks off the fastest lap of the race, a 55.05. He is happy running out front that 69 machine and putting down some hot laps. As now the number 22, Jared Reed, the number 5 machine. Yes, it is Reed on the outside line, trying to make something happen, working his way up into 2nd. But let's see what happens at the end of the start-finish line. But no, Jared Reed sets in squarely behind the race leader and doesn't have any problems. He takes over 2nd place without any issues. So as it stands, it's Leo, Reed, Deleo, Hall, and Lins, our top 5. as Nick Leo leads Jared Reed by about 2/10 up front. Then we have another half second back to Dominic Deleo, and Deleo has Hall, Lenz, and now Taylor all in the mix here. So a couple different packs starting to get formed up. Gonna be interesting to see how this plays out over the long haul tonight here at Pocono. We cycle a little bit further back. Here is the battle for third. Dominic Deleo with Garrett Hall trying to make the outside line. Doesn't quite make it stick in that number 13 machine. But we've had some great racing. These new packages put out for the next-gen Cup cars may lend itself well to racing after all. We've seen a couple of events early on in the previous package that were almost a one-line race. If you got off that bottom groove, you were done and out. So maybe the new package livening these cars up and allowing our drivers to really push in right at the ragged edge. After talking to some of the drivers in the hauler before the event, they were saying it's a lot easier to send the rear end of this car around now. And that may lend itself well to better racing. As, look at that, Jared Reed leaning on Nick Leo out front, trying to get on the quarter panel of that 69 machine and take the air off of him. And now Reed, for the first time tonight, will challenge for the lead up the inside line in the number 5 machine, sliding back up in front of Leo, not having any problems here. This may be one of the best races we've seen. As now Leo's going to try and answer once more on the outside line, but here comes Garrett Hall to interject himself in the party for the lead. Hall on the inside line. He's side by side with Leo in the Jewelback 69. Hall backs out of it, getting back in the draft because last time by he had the fastest lap. A 54.67, so drivers still finding speed here 8 laps in. Racing out of these things. So now it's going to be Nick Leo, Jared Reed, Dominic Deleo, your top 3 as they keep swapping back and forth, which has already shaped up to be the most entertaining race of the season we've had. Dominic Deleo, who started up front, he's worked his way back into third. And I'm not sure if maybe the tires really coming in for these drivers or everybody getting a little bit more comfortable as we go side by side once more with Leo and Reed putting on a show. Now here comes Deleo in the number 22 machine. He's going to try and slot up the outside line, as well as Garrett Hall in the 13 machine wants to get up in the mix. Leo holding it down strong all the way on the bottom groove. Jared Reed's going to follow up the inside line to get side by side with Deleo. Here we go once more. Deleo is going to shoot down the inside line. He's going to take a shot at Leo. Jared Reed, it's going to be his turn, the number 5 machine, to follow suit and see what these top 2 drivers do. A little bit of sliding around out of Nick Leo. And now Dominic Deleo is going to go back to third. Now, while these top 3 drivers are battling hard, it's going to slow down the pace and allow the likes of Carter Lenz, Garrett Hall, Butch Taylor all to get up in the mix here. Then we've got about a 3.5 second back to Wayne Grennan, who had a massive moment early on today. So the top 6 drivers running in 2 packs of 3. Jared Reed looks to the inside line of Leo once more. Can he make it stick? He's got about a bumper coming down the backstretch out of turn 2. So now it's going to be Leo bringing us to the start-finish line. Jared Reed, he has a bit of a shimmy out of that number 5 machine. as I believe that's Butch Taylor getting way off the line. The number 13 machine, he must have had a moment as well. So now it's a 4-car rodeo up front as we watch Garrett Hall, the number 13 machine, to try and reel in this pack once more. It's still Leo Reed Deleo, who have been putting on a great show here. Carter Lenz looks for an alternative line, the number 4 machine. Oh, you just can't look away from it. This is some of the best racing we've ever seen out of these next-gen Cup cars. Finally starting to liven them up a little bit. Leo having a great race out front. He's put about 2/10 on Jared Reed here, but we've seen Reed has been quick to answer when the going gets tough. As we say that, he glues up to the back bumper of the number 69, Leo. Leo maybe tries to break the draft here. Not sure how well that's going to work, because that's going to give Reed and Deleo a little bit more time to make something happen if they work in tandem. But Leo's going to hold on to it for a little while longer. Reed still on that back bumper. Going to be interesting to see what the fuel window is here tonight, as we are running 75% fuel allotment for these drivers. Now, I'd imagine around the lap 25 mark is where we're going to see most of the guys try and come in, depending on fuel. If they can stretch it out a little bit further, they may, as none of these drivers want to get out on track once more with no draft support from their friends. Machine still not having any problems and staying right there with Reed and Leo up front. As Carter Lenz and Garrett Hall running 4th and 5th, just taking it easy, as well as Butch Taylor's in the fray here. Maybe watching this battle for the top 3 to see if something may happen and allow them an easy chance at the podium. It's still very early on into tonight's race. Much too early to make any risky moves, but right as we say that, Jared Reed takes another shot at the race lead. Lining up next to Leo. Leo pulls about a car length on him on the stretch, and Jared Reed will fall short for the pass. Dominic Deleo says, all right, Reed, if you're going to get out of line, I'm going to go there. And he takes a shot, but the number 5 of Reed closes the door once more. Leo not having any problems out front and not afraid to race hard, as we've seen him and Reed as well as Deleo racing extremely hard. Not quite getting to the point of using the bumper. It's way too early in tonight's main event to make use of the old chrome horn, but we've seen some very clean and hard racing out of all these drivers inside the top 6. Top 6 right now, Nick Leo run at the front of the train, Butch Taylor running 6th at the back of the train, separated by just 1 second. As here comes Deleo's turn. He's going to look to the inside line of Jared Reed to try and take over 2nd place going into turn 1. Still side by side. Who will have the momentum out of here? As you're on board with Dominic Deleo, he's still side by side with Reed. Reed pulls about a bumper length. We've got one driver went off track. That was Mark Cusano. He goes down pit road. Not sure what happened to Mark, as now Charlie Gates Jr. and Leaf Smith will also come down pit road to start our first pit stops of the night. Now, when are our race leaders going to come in? Are they going to come in for fuel, or are they going to come in for what they perceive as needed tire wear? With the aggressive racing we've seen so far, it looks like the tire is still pretty good for these drivers, not having too many issues. As here comes Deleo and Reed side by side once more, a tale as old as time. As Reed will still stay in 3rd. Now Carter Lenz is going to take a shot at it as well. The number 4 machine, he goes side by side with Reed, but has no draft support in front of him to make anything happen. Still side by side with Reed in the battle for 3rd. As Garrett Hall and Butch Taylor, looks like they were giving the support to Reed there. Oh, almost touching there. Reed has about a bumper on Lenz, but Lenz not willing to give it up quite yet. As it looks like Reed's going to hold on to it here ahead of Lenz. Lenz settles for fourth for a little while longer. As up front, looks like Leo and Deleo having a little bit of fun in this draft package, trying to shake each other off. Now, interesting enough, Leo and Deleo have actually put about a second and a quarter on Jared, as Reed has his hands busy with Carter Lenz, who's now taking some shots. Oh, here we go, the battle for third, heating up. Carter Lenz, Jared Reed, Garrett Hall, all in the mix here. Now, how long are these drivers going to push for before they opt to come down pit road together? We've seen two drivers with those early stops. Three drivers, Mark Cusano, Leaf Smith, and Charlie Gates Jr. all came down pit road. As we get a report from the wall, Charlie Gates Jr., that number 55 Ford Mustang, is out for the evening. He has taken it back to the hauler, and things still getting shaken up here in the top five. As now Carter Lenz has taken over the third place spot. Jared Reed still holding on to fourth, but he's got a lot of company as well with Garrett Hall. As it looks like out front, Nick Leo and Dominic Deleo holding it down together and just trying to get away from the madness behind them. As at this point, it looks like everybody running third through sixth may work together nose to tail. As right as we say that, Garrett Hall hops out of formation, maybe looking for a way around. But I would imagine if I was in the driver's seat here, I would try and get my fellow drivers to maybe work together a little bit and reel back in your race leaders, who are about a second and a half of this second pack. Ideally, four drivers working together, punching that hole through the air, that massive hole through the air, should allow them to pull back up to the race leaders and maybe interject themselves in the party for first. It'll be curious to see how well that happens, as right now Leo and Deleo running first and second. It's a lot easier to organize a two-car train. Jared Reed still looking for a way through against Carter Lenz. Garrett Hall looks like he's getting a little antsy as well. As up front, the pace will be slowing down, as we saw Dominic Deleo hop out of formation to try and make something happen on Nick Leo. That didn't allow Carter Lenz to bring home that gap too much. He's still about 1.6 off your race, off Deleo, who's running second tonight. And once more extending the gap they have over Carter Lenz. Lenz now 2 seconds back from your race leaders. Leo and Deleo have figured something out here, how to make these machines go fast. Despite only having a two-car draft train, and maybe that's the trick. They've learned how to link up properly. While the four-car pack, a little bit, about 2.2 back from your race leader, playing a bit of game of crack the whip and not able to keep it in formation. As it looks like that last time by, Leo out front was running about a tenth faster than the rest of the field. As Leo and Deleo still out front, still nose to tail. We are at the lap 22 mark, and Deleo hops out of formation. Is he going to try and make a pass, or is he just trying to get some clean air on the front of that number 22 machine? But when are these two drivers going to come down pit road and start the green flag pit stop schedule for tonight? Astounded and impressed if we can run this out all the way under green flag conditions as your race leaders side by side once more. It's Leo and Deleo. Deleo's going to take a look to the inside line to try and make something happen. He's going to send it in deep in turn one, and this is going to slow down the pace and allow the 3rd through 6th place drivers to catch up here as Dominic Deleo takes over the race lead from Nick Leo. But just like that, now it's going to be Leo's turn to look to the inside line of the number 22. Jared Reed, the number 5 machine, will be one of the first top 5 drivers to come down pit road tonight at the lap 23 mark. Going to be interesting to see if that's going to leave him a little bit short here at the end, or maybe Reed's just looking for some clean track to rejoin on. As we will definitely keep an eye out and see how long these drivers are in pit road for. Looks like Jared Reed in and out in 15 seconds, so 4 fresh tires and a full tank of gas. And surprisingly, even with Leo and Deleo running side by side and racing hard for the lead, the second pack hasn't been able to gain too much ground here. As that is what a 2.5 second margin looks like from the lead pack of the number 69 Nick Leo and the 22 of Dominic Deleo. Carter Lenz leading the second pack of drivers, 3rd through, it's going to be 5th now after Jared Reed took his pit stop. Matt Kleeman also coming in on lap, I believe that's going to be 23. He comes down pit road, the number 19 machine. Butch Taylor, David Reed also dive down pit road for their first and possibly only stop of the night. So barring any cautions, this is looking well to be a one-stop race. And I would wager that Nick Leo and Dominic Deleo are going to run these next-gen Cup cars dry, give the opportunity, as they are still pulling a gap on the rest of the field. And all things considered, their lap times aren't that far off their personal best of the night. Dominic Deleo, the number 22 machine, ran a 55.75 his last, a 55.35 his last time by. His fastest lap of the race is only a 55.07. Granted, that is 0.2 off of what Nick Leo, the race leader, was able to put down, but that shows they're really not losing that much time with tire wear, as we have the crossed green and white flags furled up, signifying the halfway mark to our racers tonight. As we've got more racing going on in the battle for 5th, Jake Vinoski, Robert Mathis Jr. going back and forth. Mathis on the inside line, the number 29 Ford, Vinoski in the number 7, currently on the high line in his Chevrolet. That may allow Steven Gibson to catch up ever so slightly as well. Wayne Grennan still running 8th despite that massive moment at the beginning of tonight's feature event. As Vinoski right on the back bumper of that 29 Ford Mustang, trying to put the pressure on Mathis, but I don't think Mathis is going to shake. He's up 10 positions so far tonight. As here we go, the race leaders coming down pit road. Nick Leo, Dominic Deleo dive down pit road. And now it'll be Garrett Hall who will lead some laps here at Pocono, making his way around traffic. That appears to be the 50, showing the 52. That's going to be David Reed, the senior of the Reed family. As you go on board with Carter Lenz, he is watching Garrett Hall navigate traffic. Right now it's Hall, Lenz, Vinoski, Gibson, and Grennan, who have not come down pit road yet tonight. I would imagine, though, they'll be coming down pit road soon, as I think Dominic Deleo and Nick Leo, stretch that fuel run out as close as far as they can. Keep an eye on the lap times. When is Lenz going to come down pit road? Ooh, Garrett Hall blinks terribly. Lenz comes down pit road, leaving Garrett Hall to get some laps led. And now Steven Gibson takes over second. So it's Hall, Gibson, Grinnan, and Hayes, the drivers who have yet to pit tonight. We've got Grant Pintock, I believe is the right way to say that. He's cheering on Carter Lenz, the number 4 machine that just came down pit road. As we are watching Garrett Hall stretch out the fuel here. As all but 3 drivers have pitted under green flag conditions tonight. Now that should put Nick Leo and Dominic Deleo back out front after Hall, Gibson, Hayes come down pit road. The top 3 drivers have yet to pit so far tonight. Gibson comes down pit road. Garrett Hall is going to continue stretching out the fuel around that number 13 machine. And running fairly good pace here tonight, on par with the drivers who just came out of pit road with fresh tires. And he may be hoping for a caution to come out as drivers come out of pit road with sticker tires, and maybe hoping for a mistake out of some of the guys so he can put a large portion of the field down a lap, as we have 8 drivers on the lead lap here, 22 laps left to go. When is Hall and Hayes going to come down pit road? Hall is about showing 33 seconds over the second place driver, Kevin Hayes. Both drivers stretch out the fuel run as long as they possibly can. Now I'm almost fairly certain they will not be able to complete a whole race on 1 tank of fuel, but we've seen wilder pit strategies play off before. Last week where we saw Joseph Penn really go for the undercut and stretch out his fuel, and he was able to bring home a 3rd just by skipping a pit cycle compared to the rest of the field. So we've seen it happen before here at Rubbins Racing, and it could very well happen again. As now Kevin Hayes in the number 3 machine, he comes down pit road. As it stands, it's Hall, Leo, and Deleo, your top 3. Hall, the only driver on track who has yet to come down pit road. And it's looking like he's not going to do so anytime soon. And right as we say that, yes, he dives down pit road a full 37 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. So it's going to be very interesting to see how things pan out here and where he will come out in relation to Nick Leo, who's going to charge his way up towards the front to get back in the race lead. Dominic Deleo running about 8/10 behind your now second place driver, Leo. What's going to happen here, ladies and gentlemen? Are we going to see Dominic Deleo catch back up to the number 69 machine? And where will Garrett Hall be rejoining the track at as far as position? He rolls out of pit road after only 12 seconds in his stall. Almost a 3-second shorter pit stop than a large portion of the field. As we hear the engine whine from Garrett Hall, there he is about 1.3 seconds back. And look at the traffic ahead for Nick Leo. He's going to have all sorts of company here shortly as we go on board your current race leader. Traffic stretched out as far as the eye can see tonight. We got another great battle for what's going to be 5th. Jared Reed, the number 5 machine, putting the pressure on Butch Taylor's number 33 Toyota. Taylor, the current fastest Toyota out on track, running 5th, up 3 spots from where he started. As look at that, Dominic Deleo clicks off his fastest lap of the race, up 54.86. Edging out Leo's fastest time by just 1/100th of a second. And now Leo, your race leader, has traffic to maybe help him out with the draft with. Instead of giving it all to Deleo, Leo will expertly try and navigate traffic here and see what he can do to maybe put a gap on Deleo, try and break that draft ever so slightly, as he does not want this much company late into the race. It's a two-car show out front. Nick Deleo, Dominic Deleo doing great, and still putting about a 2-second gap over Garrett Hall in third. Both race leaders able to cut through traffic, not having any issues. As what's been, I think, the cleanest race we've had so far of this season. And these guys are putting on a great show for our fans at home. And my, oh my, look at the traffic your race leaders are about to contend with. 16 drivers on the lead lap, and a whole lot of those drivers just in front of these race leaders. That will be, I believe, Leaf Smith just ahead in the number 65 Chevrolet. Really impressed by the quality of the drivers tonight as well. Everybody doing a good job hopping out of formation and trying to give the race leader some room, because right as they get around traffic, Deleo and Leo side by side once more. Smith has some great front row seats, as it looks like Nick Deleo has about a car length over Dominic here coming out of turn one. But we've seen this move before. Dominic is either going to hop back in the draft, which it looks like he's going to do, maybe playing it safer now. But we've seen some great back and forth action all night long at the Rubbins Racin and Next Gen Series. Now what these top two drivers are going to be hoping for now is a caution-free remaining 16 laps as they cross the checkered line. They do not want to get the field stacked back up. And let's see, now Dominic looks to the inside line. We've seen this a time or two. Leo still holding on, has it cleared, and there we go. Dominic giving a little bit of a push to the 69 machine. Not quite a bump and run, but letting him know, hey, I'm here, and we're racing hard for it. Man, really impressed with the driving we've seen tonight. I got to give credit to Jared Reed for building a setup for tonight, as well as iRacing NASCAR for finally giving something to these racers that they can push hard with. Hands down, I think some of the best racing we've had so far this season. As we wait to see if Dominic tries to make another shot at the 69 of Leo, or if he's going to take it easy. Maybe see what Nick Deleo, your race leader, is doing and what lines he's taking to try and get things formed up for later on the race. These two drivers still have a 3.4 second advantage over their competition. Garrett Hall running third in that number 13 machine. Nose to tail for almost the duration of this event. Are we going to see Dominic pull out a line here? No, he's going to stay in the draft. Let's cycle it back to Butch Taylor, who's leading around Jared Reed. Reed's about 8/10 off the back bumper of that 33. But Butch Taylor trying to work on Carter Lenz and the number 4 machine, and to work his way slightly higher up inside the top 5. Does Taylor have anything for Lenz? Both Lenz and Taylor are up 3 spots from where they originally qualified tonight. 13 laps left to go. Oh, and a big blink from Butch Taylor. Something he's going to want to try and keep an eye on here. But he's going to put the pressure back on Lenz, looking to the inside line against the all-green number 4 machine, and goes way too far down, tags the inside apron, barely avoids getting into Lenz. A massive moment for Taylor, and that's going to allow Reed an opportunity to work back up into the 5th place spot, as Taylor was all sorts of out of control there. Lenz must have saw that one coming and tightened up in his seat, knowing the impact was just about inevitable. Man, it is great to see such good racing out here tonight. So let's see, is it now Reed's turn to put the pressure on Taylor after he saw Taylor with that massive moment almost going through the grass in the infield. He ran it so far inside. I would imagine Taylor just missed his mark there and drove it in a little bit too deep, or deeper than he planned at least. Now Jared Reed definitely has some damage on the right side of that number 5 from tagging the wall, so that could be hurting his aerodynamics. And it's why you still see him running 6th after he was running up front for a large portion of tonight's feature event. As the pack tightening up for 4th once more. Now these 3 drivers battling hard for 4th are still about 5 seconds back from Garrett Hall, who's out in 3rd, kind of in no man's land right now. Hall also finds himself about 4.5 seconds back from the lead pack of Nick Leo and Dominic Deleo. Interesting to see how the 2-car pack's been able to make bigger strides here compared to the drivers running 3, 4, 5 deep. I'm almost wondering if that's the aero update on these things, make it a little bit tougher for these drivers to make any big strides when you're all linked up like this. Kind of the opposite of what we've seen in NASCAR packages in the past. As right now your top 5 running order with 10 laps left to go is Leo, Deleo, Hall, Lenz, Taylor, our top 5. And still some fantastic racing left to go. As now Lenz will have traffic to navigate. As traffic goes too wide in front of the bright green number 4. Nowhere for Lenz to go here. Now I believe that's Stephen Gibson. No, that's Randall Hicks and Leaf Smith who are in a battle of their own. So as much as these 4th through 6th place drivers like to make clean work of traffic, that traffic's also out there battling for position, and that can make it mighty tough. Jared Reed looks like he's going to work up on the inside line of Taylor. In a drag race to start-finish line, Reed has the position squarely using the side draft of lap traffic, the number 65, Leaf Smith, to try and crawl his way a little bit closer to Lenz, because Lenz has extended his gap to Reed to 3/4 of a second after about 10 laps of nose-to-tail action. We're going to pan the camera back up front to Nick Leo, as Dominic Deleo starting to close that gap rapidly. They were riding around comfortably with a half second between each other, but with 8 laps left to go, I think Deleo knows it is time to make something happen, to put the hammer down and try and take away the race lead from Nick Leo. if we were to see a late race caution, it may be between these two drivers, as we've seen them do a little bit of bumping and grinding early on tonight. .3 is what separates the 69 of Nick to the 22 of Dominic. And not a lot of laps left for any of these drivers to make any big moves. Now, both of these guys came in on lap 26 together, which is about middle as far as different strategies go. And I'm impressed with Garrett Hall, stretched it all the way out to lap 30. He's still running third overall tonight. So the strategy out of the 13 Ford Mustang must have boded well. Nick Deleo will soon once again be facing traffic. I believe it's going to be Kevin Hayes, Stephen Gibson, and Robert Mathis Jr. just ahead of the number 69 machine, as we've got something going on. The number 44 machine, I believe this is who that was. Mark Cusano has a big moment. Keeps it rolling. Thankfully, no late race caution, but man, did we get close to it. I'm wondering if maybe Leaf Smith was involved in that, as Smith now comes down pit road. That is not what Nick Deleo or Dominic Deleo wanted to see at this stage of the race. They want to run this thing out if they can. Delete caution so he can go back and do a short race shootout in the final laps. But I've got to say, I want to see this thing run out to the end. This has been some fantastic driving, as now it looks like Leo putting about 8/10 over Deleo. Oh, not a lot of time to make any big moves here, as Leo using the draft of traffic ahead of him. Meanwhile, we still have a heated battle for fourth. Carter Lenz, Butch Taylor running nose to tail. They managed to shake off Jared Reed's number 5 machine. Reed about 2 seconds back from the battle for fourth. And I can't say enough, ladies and gentlemen, so this is probably some of the best racing I think I've had the pleasure of ever seeing out of these next-gen Cup cars. Really excited to see him get livened up as that real-world data starts to roll in. 5 laps left to go. Carter Lenz on screen running fourth. He is chased with Butch Taylor right on the bumper of that bright green mean number 4 machine. And we're going to have some great racing still left to go. Nick Deleo, your race leader, has extended his gap to just over a second of Dominic Deleo. So now may be the moment where Deleo hopes for a caution, if one will come. The laps rapidly ticking off here tonight at the tricky triangle, but it seems to bode well as it's been tamed by about 17 drivers. We've had a couple close calls, but so far no caution as of yet. That could very well change as we about get ready to change our ticker to 3 laps left to go. Butch Taylor takes over the spot from Carter Lenz, so Lenz will have to settle for 5th unless he can make something happen in the closing laps here tonight. Coming out of turn 2, it looks like Lenz has a great drive on the inside line. He's going to try and make something happen against Taylor. Taylor takes a little bit wider line, maybe to allow Lenz that spot uncontested, or maybe to carry a massive amount of speed down the start-finish line straight as they go side by side once more in the battle for 4th. Taylor has Lenz by about 0.05 of a second. Let's see how deep Lenz drives it in turn 1, as you can see him get on the brakes and let off and get right back on him to try and get squared up with Taylor as they go side by side once more. 3 laps left to go here at Pocono as we are watching a heated battle for 4th unfold. Taylor and Lenz still side by side. Now it's Taylor by a bumper down the backstretch. Lenz going to try and answer on the inside line. Gets back in the groove right behind Taylor, settling in that draft. and he's only got just a couple short laps to set it up once more. We've seen these two drivers swap positions and swap paint, so they're no strangers to good, aggressive racing. Taylor has a quarter of a second coming out of turn 3, but Lenz has a massive drive once more. 2 laps left to go at Pocono. The battle for 4th is, you would think these guys are battling for the lead out here tonight. Taylor in the white and black 33, Lenz in the number 4 machine that's bright green, dives in and deep once more in turn 1. Doesn't look like he quite had the same drive he did the lap prior, as now Taylor will carry the momentum down the backstretch. The white flag will soon fly for your race leaders, Nick Leo, Dominic Deleo, and Garrett Hall running 1st through 3rd. As we are at the edge of our seats as Butch Taylor, Carter Lenz diving in deep into turn 2. It's still Taylor about a 1/10 of a second over Lenz, but Lenz is going to answer once more on the inside line going into turn 3. Now when he does this, it's going to make it a little bit tougher, but the white flag is out as Randall Hicks, involved in an incident, takes a quick tow back to pit road. Nick Leo still has a second over Dominic Deleo, and Deleo has about 7.5 over Garrett Hall. We are all watching with bated breath to see if Lenz or Taylor are going to get aggressive here in the final lap in the battle for 4th. As let's pan the camera back up front. I think Leo may have gotten caught up with traffic here. That is allowed Deleo to get within a half second once more of your race leader. A quarter of a second and closing fast. Here comes Dominic Deleo trying to work the outside line against Nick Leo. He's right on the bumper. It's going to be a draft race down to the start-finish line. Nick Leo makes the machine wide and keeps Dominic Deleo behind him. Less than a 1/10 of a second separate these two drivers in the lead. Garrett Hall will finish 3rd. And look at this. Carter Lenz and Butch Taylor in the battle for 4th. It's Lenz by about a bumper. And a great race in the battle for 4th. Fantastic racing from start to finish. Hands down the best racing I've ever seen out of these next-gen Cup cars. That can be attributed to some great drivers and a much better car as well. Man, oh man, what a finish, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Leo is going to celebrate in style before we bring him up into the waiting room for a much-deserved podium speech. And here we go, the very well-deserved victory burnout of Nick Leo in the 69 machine. Try and get that tower out of the way. There we go. And Nick Leo's going to use up all the tires tonight after, man, one of the best races. I was excited to watch that one. I really enjoyed that one here as an announcer, and I bet you the racers are just as happy to run this thing start to finish under green flag conditions. We're waiting for a couple more drivers to make their way up into victory lane. Here we go. Looks like the gang's all here. Up first, we've got Garrett Hall joining us in the number 13 machine. Garrett, great racing and a very interesting choice on pit strategy tonight. Is that a decision you're happy with, or do you wish you switched it up even more?
No, that was a hope and a prayer. I knew I didn't have pace to keep up with the lead two. They drove away from us coming into the first, well, I guess the only round of pit stops. So I was hoping I could get out in front of them and at least hold on to the draft and race for it there at the end, but two tires just had a little bit too loose at the end.
Well, it still seemed like a fairly good call. That's twice in a row we've seen some great third-place finishes by guys willing to risk it on strategy. Overall, how's the car feeling tonight? I know we pushed out an update. We had a custom setup provided to the league. Was the car feeling good? Was it feeling more lively, or what did it feel like from your connection to the wheel?
The older the tires got, the better it felt. On new tires, I was honest and truly on ice. I think I was running like fifth or sixth or something like that in a line of cars, first 25-ish laps, and I was honest and truly a passenger. So, yeah, but by the end of the run, everybody else at pit, I had clean air. I was like, I'm gonna run it till the fuel runs out because the car feels fine. So, yeah.
Well, seemed like it worked out well for you, Garrett. Always great having you up here in Victory Lane. Who would you like to give a shout out to, friends, family, sponsors that you'd like to say hello to or thank you?
Hey, well, I know my mom and dad are watching, so hello back home in North Carolina. The girlfriend, she's over here watching as well, so thank you for the support. The league puts on a great show. You guys up there in the booth, Team Goon Squad, everybody does a great job with the broadcast. I watch it back at work when I really should be, on the clock doing actual work. Hoping my bosses actually hear me say that, but yeah. Yeah, everybody here, great racing. Congratulations to, I actually don't know who won, if it was Leo or Deleo, but congratulations. It was good racing.
Awesome, Garrett. Always a great time talking to me, and hope to see you back up here in the near future. And congratulations putting that number 13 machine in Victory Lane.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, sir. That was Garrett Hall bringing home a third. And up next, we've got Dominic Deleo, the driver of the number 22 Ford Mustang. Dominic, I've got to say, that might be the best race we've had the pleasure of running so far this season.
Yeah, James, I was just talking to Nick right there after the race, and we were just saying how great of a race that was. That was real fun, especially with all the stuff at the beginning of the run. We had like 4 or 5 cars in there just passing the lead back and forth, but then between me and Nick there, it was real fun.
Now, Dominic, the great racing tonight, is that attributed to guys getting more comfortable with each other, the new car update, or what do you think led to such great racing? I mean, from green to checkers tonight.
Yeah, I mean the new setup, the new car's great. Adding the horsepower, definitely the right move, and it just makes for more fun racing. I shout out to Jared Reed. He made the setup for us because iRacing didn't have a setup for Pocono yet in the next gens, and really was everything was good. I mean, drafting came into play, different turns, and just different strategies playing out. It was a lot of fun.
Now, Dominic, do you think there's anything you could have done differently as far as strategy to maybe put in the top spot, or was that just you and Nick giving it all you got for over 50 laps tonight?
Yeah, I mean, maybe if I short pitted, and then, but by the time I realized I could short pit, he came down pit road 2 in front of me. I just couldn't pass him. I mean, props to Nick. He really I tried everything. Tried shifting in corners, which I know he was doing. I tried just different lines, different break points. I just could not get past him. And even when I did get past him, he was right there. And once I knew that the draft I lost the draft there, probably lap 45, 46, and I just knew that it was kind of over. But no, it was I'm just kind of in awe of just how great racing that was.
Well, Dominic, it was a lot of fun to watch up here in the booth. Hopefully it was just half as fun as that out on track. And always a great time talking to you, man, helping out with those points that are going to be very, very close as this season progresses. Before we let you sign off and celebrate, maybe have a glass of water after that wheeling, who would you like to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Thank you to my wife, as always, friends and family, if they're tuning in. You guys at Team Goon Squad, James, you guys do a great job. Excited to go watch the broadcast. All the admins here at Rubbins Racing League, rubbinsracing.com, Butt Kicker. Then I'm on Twitch. I'd like to thank Eat Sleep Race, sponsor of the 22 Ford Mustang here. And yeah, I mean, you said it. Good to add up points. Talk to you again. I usually hate Pocono, but this was the most fun I've had in Pocono ever. So, yeah, thanks, James.
No worries, Dominic. Congratulations, man. I hope to see you do well next week.
Yep, have a good night.
You as well, sir. That was Dominic Deleo bringing home the second place spot, and now we've got the man of the hour, Nick Leo, in the 69 Jewel Machine of that run.
Yeah, well, that was something. I'm sweating pretty bad right now. That was intense. That was some good racing.
Now, what do you think helped liven up the cars, and how did the car feel different to you from what we've raced in the past in these next-gen Cup cars?
Well, the added horsepower definitely helped, and it was pretty loose the whole time. Like in turn 3, I was pretty much just hanging on to it, like just trying not to spin out. But it was a lot of fun, a lot more fun than the 550 package.
Now, if you think if we can go caution-free at Pocono, is that going to be good news for the rest of the season, or do you think things may be a little bit more lively at some of the technical tracks with this new package?
I hope we can go green flag like that again. I think we can do it. It seems like a good bunch of people racing here, and if we can do Pocono like this, I think we can do just about anywhere.
Well, awesome.
Especially that tunnel turn.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That was hands down the best next-gen Cup car racing I've had the pleasure of seeing yet. You and Dominic going back and forth, nose to tail, a lot of clean racing all the way through. It was a lot of fun up here, and I think it might have been just as much fun down there in the car. But, Nick, before I let you sign off and celebrate, who would I like to give a shout-out to that's helping cheer you on that 69 machine?
Yeah, first I got to give a shout out to Jewel. I didn't have much to hit it tonight, much chance to hit it. Like you said, it was, all hands on deck, just holding on to the car and racing Dominic hard there. But shout out to Chevy and one hell of an engine in the car tonight. I'm glad we could pull past that Mustang in second. And shout out to Butt Kicker and all the Rubbins Racing admins and everyone who gets this broadcast going in the league.
Awesome. Nick, great time talking to you. Always a great time having you up here in the booth. And congratulations on picking up the win here at the Tricky Triangle. It was a lot of fun to call.
Yeah, thank you. Looking forward to next week.
Thank you, sir. I'll see you then. That was Nick Leo bringing home the #1 spot here at Pocono at the Rubbins Racing Next Gen Cup Series, where it was Dominic Deleo chasing in second and Garrett Hall rounding out third place. On behalf of RubbinsRacing.com as well as Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, thank you all so much for tuning in, spending your Tuesday evening with us. We look forward to seeing you same time, same place next week as we keep this season rolling. Have a great night, everyone.